Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the second board workshop for the budget, 2022 budget. If we could all rise and pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, call the meeting to order. The roll call. Cootie is present. Reinhardt, Stevens, not present. Kathy present.
Present.
Stott present. And
Spooner.
sorry,
Spooner.
Spooner. Yeah. Why did I miss Ron?
And Palmer.
Okay. So we have a quorum. We know we have the proof of service. Also with us tonight is William Tubb, our treasurer, and evidently representing the finance committee is Dave Saganik. Welcome.
Thank you.
How do you propose we start, Bill?
Okay. What you see on the screen is exactly the same thing you were given on the 28th. There's been no changes to it. If you've got questions, I've got a couple of recommendations that we've gathered some more information, but we've made, this is your document now, it's not our document, so we will make no changes that you'll tell us to make. So you can rely on this being what you've seen, not something somebody's changed and slipped in. The recommendations that we've come up with is the amount for flood insurance for both buildings is about $12,000 a year. Kathy asked at the last meeting if I would add an extra line onto this document to add that, should you choose to do so, and I've done that. I've got the line, but no numbers in there.
The GL, yeah.
The additional $100,000 of contents for this building and property is $118 that would pay through the end of February, so that's October, November, December, January, February, 5 months. So probably $500 would be adequate next year to cover for a full year of that extra $100,000. And the
plan is to, the insurance company will do an inventory, thinking that with the new clubhouse, new furniture, and new equipment, we'll do a proper inventory to make sure they're spot on.
either it's adequate or excessive.
Right.
Either way. The other thing we had was the Gates Committee for gate replacement. Rick Devine had told us numbers 150, 250, who knows what number. We have had some communications with Todd Reinhardt, who's on that committee, and with Aaron Marcy. What's Aaron's last name? Marcy. She says that their numbers are still in flux. They don't have a contract yet, but they're confident that with an additional $50,000 a year per year for 2 years, an extra $100,000 for the whole project, they could basically have us brand new gates, totally soup to nuts. I don't know, I haven't seen any communications, I haven't seen any contracts or quotes, so that's just the information we've gotten from her. I did add another line for GL number 70055 for gate replacement. I thought you probably would not want to just lump it in with repair and maintenance for gates, because that would make it hard to break it out again when that project is over. So I've got a line in there to put that for any number you'd like to put in. So have you got any questions about any of the numbers that you've seen?
I take it you don't know if the gate proposal includes a complete maintenance contract to cover repairs?
I have seen nothing, so I don't know.
Do we know if it's integrated, both the gate and the arm?
I was told that with the action automatic door, I think is who they're talking to, and what I've been told by our people is that action automatic doors, that they enfold Envira into their plan. So I think it would be soup to nuts maintenance, Envira taking care of Envira stuff and action taking care of everything else. But I don't know that for a fact.
Do you know if any discussion if there's been any discussion on sending out an RFP to multiple security companies in light of the fact that Envira's contract's coming up, so we can get a more current bid. Do you know if any of that's occurred yet?
I am aware of that, any of that taking place. I would be surprised if it had.
Okay, well, if it's the board's, it's up to the board if we want to get a committee to give us an advisory opinion, and maybe that's something we consider. I don't know how quickly we can get that back, but it sure would be nice to have some options on the table come next year to get this system solved. Or we can invite Erin to come to one of the budget meetings, and we can just chat about what's in their proposal and to make sure there's enough money, frankly, because the last thing I want to do is get into next year and there's not enough money to accomplish what we need to accomplish. But those are my 2 cents.
I was under the impression that, in talking to Todd, that that's what they were working towards, was doing that, but I'll double check on that and make sure that they're doing that, because it would be nice to have one vendor for all 3 gates.
I could say, and unfortunately, due to our inability, not just this year, but in all the previous years with Pope, to properly track maintenance associated with the gates, we have spent a lot of money with Bose and other companies just fixing the gates. And if you could really evaluate that in the aggregate, how much money was spent, I think it would be an unfortunate surprise and truly be an impetus to want to get a global maintenance for the entire gate system. So hopefully we can accomplish that.
Well, again, with this budget, if you put 50,000 in that line, that would be in line with what the gate committee asked for. You've also got 20, let's see. You've got 23,000 in the budget that was presented to you for repair and maintenance for the gate entry. So between the 2 of those, you'd have almost 75,000 if you were to choose to do that.
So 50 would be
in addition to,
would be for the actual equipment. Then we have 20, but then we also have 8,000 a month for Envira.
then you have 8,000 a month for Envira in addition to that.
Okay.
Actually, $10,088 for $121,000 total for Envira for this budget.
Okay. Has there been any communication with Envira to make sure we understand whether they're going to invoke any escalation clauses or anything?
Not from anybody on the finance committee.
Well,
The Gates committee hasn't disclosed that to us.
I can't stress enough, though, that before we finalize the budget, we are clear with all our vendors and what our costs are going to be in real numbers next year. Because I would hate for us to be unprepared because of the current environment, and I'm eating a lot of inflation.
In a perfect world, I would absolutely agree with you. We're up against the wall in time to get this approved, and you may not be able to get that information in that amount of time. You may
Okay.
have to use your best guess to proceed.
Maybe, Steve, we can chat about that.
Yeah.
Maybe you and Gary or all three of us, just to make sure that we're clear to the best we can.
Yeah, you want to make the best decision you can, but end of the day, we got to have coupon books printed and in the hands of the homeowner so that they can make their January 1st, 2022 payments.
Right.
So time is closing in on us.
Fair enough.
Okay, so questions on anything in particular on this budget that you'd like to go over? Any directions you want to give us on?
Things on landscaping. We had a long landscaping meeting today, and we're getting a number of proposals sent over by Crawford, and the committee is evaluating them, and hopefully we'll be able to have some additional information in terms of what we need to budget for in addition to regular Crawford contract. But there's been this question with Down to Earth in terms of irrigation, and unfortunately I'm going through the budget and I see gel lines for irrigation. It appears to be maintenance, but I haven't got a lot of clarity on that. I want to make sure that we understand what those gel lines are providing us. So I guess that's
Maybe to give you some history on that. When Jerry Evans got here, he discovered that the HOA, the Master Association, had been paying all of the maintenance and repairs on the irrigation system for all of the, at that time, Florida Evergreen, now Down to Earth. They were just billing the Master Association. The Master Association was paying for it. In his first budget, he took the amount of the contract per lot and added, I think, $2 a month per lot to the amount that we're getting, collecting from those homeowners that you can see there. Anguilla Landscape, Greenville Landscape, all of those numbers. They had $2 a month per lot, per house, to cover the irrigation charges, knowing everybody wouldn't have to have new controllers. And his hope was that we would track it, know how much it was, and if somebody, we started out with everybody having the same, and if some streets were using way more than that, some way less, we would adjust it. I don't think since First Service got here that they have tracked that, so I don't think we have that information in front of us. And Casey did give us these numbers, so I think these numbers are just the contract numbers. So again, I don't think we're collecting anything extra to cover the irrigation costs for all of those streets.
I was given 2 proposals today by Down to Earth, and they were mostly for irrigation control boxes. They haven't been approved by management yet, and I don't think management's clear on whether this is an HOA or a individual street association expense. I think clearly, considering that the HOA isn't directly responsible for residential landscaping, it's a street association expense directly related to Down to Earth. So that's been in limbo. A number of homes right now are not currently getting irrigation.
I can remember one month, Down to Earth had 14 controllers in it that we paid for.
Do you know what accounts those were paid out of?
I'd have to go back and...
So we're going to, and that's one of the notes here, was that I was going to look to the Finance Committee to help give us some clarity in terms to make sure this is being done correctly this year and in...
The Finance Committee doesn't have the ability to look at that. You're going to have to look to First Service to pull those invoices up and look and see where they were coded.
Would the
Finance Committee doesn't have access to those.
Would the Finance Committee be able to assist in evaluating whether there's sufficient funds for each association left to be able to pay for these proposals for additional irrigation boxes? For instance, you'll see that it's broken up into streets, and I want to make sure that we're not writing checks out that can't be drawn from those accounts.
But if we instructed First Service to give the Finance Committee copies of all those invoices with the coding on them, we could see what's been done in the past. You can look at your, you've got the September financial statements and see if there's anything left in the budgets for those.
But I don't know in terms of what checks are out, what's accrued, what's cash. So I would need some assistance with that, because that only provides me, limited information.
Well, that would tell you everything that had been booked, either accrued or paid through September 30. So once we get the October one, we'll have another month's of information.
Steve, do you think that you could work with Bill to make sure that we have a sufficient amount of money in each of these smaller associations to pay for the irrigation?
I can also pull the details of the invoices.
Okay.
What GL they were applied to.
We'd want to make sure it's
The
coming.
other side, you said sufficient. The other side of that is we don't know what your proposal is to know what.
Well, I'll send that off to you too,
is.
because we want to cross-reference that with the contract too, to make sure that they are entitled to that payment.
Which vendor is it in charge of the irrigation?
Down to Earth.
Down to Earth.
And these are resident. See, Crawford does irrigation for community. Down to Earth does it for residential, so this would be only Down to Earth for residential. And I'll give you copies of the proposal, the 2 proposals I received tonight.
And that's what they propose to do before year end?
Yes, and they're currently frustrated because they are manually watering these yards with a hose. And what that does is it takes their attention away from a lot of other areas that need to get attention. It's a big waste of time and resources, and it's just because there's a bit of a logjam on these proposals, and this was just brought up to me
I
today.
don't understand that because they've been billing us for replacing controllers in the past, so why have they stopped?
Well, they're not being, the proposal needs to be approved first, and it hasn't been approved.
As far as I know, everything that they presented to us has been approved and paid.
Well, let's confirm that with, well, these 2 proposals have not. I can tell you that because they brought them
So they
specifically
haven't
to...
done the work yet either, have they?
Correct, but we certainly want to get a proposal before we authorize them to do the work. It would be smart for them to get approval before they do the work. So I'll give you those, and let's just make sure we're on the same page, that the money's drawn from the same account. But as a corollary to this, it will help to make sure that we have appropriate budget items for next year. And that's basically all I have. I'm not trying to hog up the time.
One topic under security services, I think that we're going to need to look to put that up, probably add an additional $1,000 a month to that service. You know, that's my career has been in security services, and we're not paying a whole lot right now, and that's the reason that we're going to need to go out and take another look at that in January. So to get a firm that's willing to come in here and put the effort in, we're going to have to get a better billing rate to them than what we currently have. So I would make that recommendation.
You have consensus? If you do, I'll put it in.
That was it, 61045?
61045.00.
Yeah,
An additional 1,000 a month?
610.00 thousand a month. Yeah.
So it would go from $5,383 to $6,583 per month.
Is that going to add anyone additional or more hours? Do you think it's more quality?
It's just it's increased the quality. 'Cause right now, you know, we're getting a lot of complaints, and
I would certainly defer to you as being the expert on this, so I would be fine with that.
right, considering that they provide a vehicle and the manpower, you know, that rate that we're currently paying is a pretty low rate for, and that doesn't incentivize the company to bust their chops for you when they're not making a lot of money or what they feel is fair money. So I think that additional money would make that competitive, and we could go out and get 2 or 3 companies be willing to give us good bids. And you know, it may not be, they may bid a little better than that, but just to be
Well,
safe.
this is a working copy you're looking at here. If you have consensus on that, I'll make that change, and it will tell you how that's going to impact the annual and quarterly homeowner assessments, that change. So,
The line above it, the pool contract, I know that the pool has been problematic, both the cleaning of the pool, the pumps.
Yes.
How often is the pool guy here with the chemicals? And I don't know if it's just the lack of oversight, the fact that we don't have a strict contract outlining what the roles and responsibilities and functions are, or do we, you know, should we be looking to change that? And I don't know what adequate funding would be for pool service.
I think we really definitely have to look at a commercial pool company
Yeah.
that does resort-style pools.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to pad this as well.
We probably need to pad that because that's again, is going to be a low figure compared to what you're going to pay a professional commercial pool company.
I'm waiting on consensus from you whether to make those changes or not.
For security.
For security first and then for pool.
I would concur with the security. It's
I'm sorry?
important. I would concur with the plan to up the security costs for budget, 12,000 for the year, 1,000 a month, correct?
Right.
Marilyn?
Yeah, I would certainly put out the RFP to see what we can get.
Right.
But yes, there have been complaints, and it took them a long time to get the towing accomplished. Too many months.
And that's kind of stopped again, so.
Yep.
and we're just not getting our money's worth.
But we're not talking about an RFP now, we're talking about just changing the budget by $1,000
Yeah,
a
increasing the
month.
budget.
Do you concur with that?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think any of us use the pool, but there's certainly been enough complaints.
6.
One change that management did this year, it wasn't directly discussed with me. I don't know if it was discussed with you, but during the time we didn't have a maintenance person, we started paying down to earth $20,000 for the waste stations. Typically, that was built in to as a duty for one of our employees. It's not a great job, obviously, but it's an additional $20,000 on our budget that we would be adding if we maintain the same staff. So we should make a deliberate decision as a board whether we want to have our employees do that or continue to peel it off. And the reason they peeled it off was we didn't have a maintenance
Right.
person.
No, I think with the new company coming in, adequate staffing, we should pull that back and it'd be a function, a clearly defined role of whether it's the maintenance or, you know.
20,000 is a lot.
Yeah.
It is.
I think you could do better than that too, because there's companies out there that, would give us a better price than DTE. My only concern on that is it's really a terrible job. And if we have, say, our maintenance man out there spending 2-3 hours doing that, that's 2-3 hours he's neglecting the property. So what's the cost benefit?
But he's also driving the property to see where there's issues, so
Yeah.
he's physically out there,
Yeah.
right?
Which
Yes.
is
So if he focuses on phase one, I don't know if it's every day he needs to do the collections, but he should be out there looking at the common areas and what some of the concerns are. I think.
Do you know whether the email that we received, I guess it was yesterday, on the dog that got over into Cape Royal, do you know whether
That's been repaired.
It's been repaired?
All depends. So I would agree with you to bring that 20,000 back under and assume that function
Yeah,
once we're staffed.
I'm not 100% clear on my position on it, to be honest with you. I know it's something that's important for us to discuss. If we're paying, a maintenance person, a skilled maintenance person, there's an argument to be made that we're paying an extra amount per hour for those skills, and those skills aren't best utilized cleaning up poop. So in a weird way, it's really dependent upon our maintenance person and an evaluation
Right.
of what we're getting in return.
I think Steve will tell you, there's maintenance technician, there's 2 classifications, isn't there, for a maintenance operator or a maintenance technician?
Really, what you're looking for is a groundskeeper to do that type of work.
Groundskeeper.
And that would help out with all the little stuff, kind of like a lower tiered maintenance person.
How much does that typically run a year in terms of a salary for a maintenance person, a grounds person?
Right now, it's probably going to be around $15-16 an hour,
So about 30,000 a year?
plus burden,
That could be a part-time job.
Yeah, but my point being is we hired someone like that, we're already paying 20,000,
Right,
and we can utilize that person as backup support for
Exactly.
schools, and
Correct.
it might be a smart way to do it.
My problem too, if you get a sharp maintenance person, they're gonna bulk it with that job.
True,
that job.
demoralize it.
Yeah.
With 2 people, you can do a lot more work with 2 people than you can with 1.
True, carrying 2 things, and one being skilled, one being unskilled, to cover that, it may be a good use of that
Little
money.
helper,
Right.
I agree.
It doesn't impact the budget, really,
No, not significantly at all, especially with it. We're already paying 20 grand.
right?
Agree, Dave?
Were you gonna make top three on the pools? I think about.
The amount is, do we want to pad it? Which gives us a little more flexibility to upgrade.
Trey's got another
so.
tool at his disposal.
If
What
we
would you
can,
think is reasonable, an additional
Yes.
$1,500?
We'd have to figure out how that goes into the
I
salary.
don't really know, but it's probably a safe bet.
Right now, it's 4333.
Right now, we're not going anywhere on that. in terms of-
55?
We haven't finalized that.
5,500?
Make it 55, okay.
Before Marilyn leaves, I'm still looking for consensus on Kathy's
The
proposal.
pool, yeah, that's what we were just discussing. So, I'm suggesting $5,500 a month to upgrade the level of service, for pool and, like a premium pool or resort-style pool service, company.
Okay. Have I got consensus on that?
Do you agree, Marilyn? Before
I'm
you go?
I'm in agreement with that.
Yes.
I'll agree.
I absolutely think that we need to.
Yes or
upgrade
no?
there.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. Again, I
May
don't.
not be totally a part of the discussion, but do you expect to have RFPs out for that or bids? And you could do a bid process and evaluate bids.
Yeah,
Since there may be only a peculiar amount of companies that do that, or you can go out with just 20 companies and you want to evaluate 20, that's another matter. If there's 3 top ones you've identified, then maybe a bid process with a set of parameters could work too. Either way.
Contract there to make sure we have a clear list of expectations in place so we can then enforce it properly. I'm not sure if the formal RFP process is required here or not, frankly. But we
Yeah.
obviously are going to need to do significant evaluation, and giving us some more room on the budget would
Yeah.
help us.
Do you agree? I think a bid is acceptable. It doesn't have to be an RFP.
Right, that
Yeah.
is 3 bids.
3 bids.
Bids, yes.
Three bids.
Yeah.
I think you want formal
I've had a
bids
long
just
day.
for transparency.
Right.
You want to have those
Absolutely,
have those
that,
formal
yeah.
So we
bids.
can outline some user, some requirements and see. But we need to see when that pool contract is up too. I know there's a list of the dates when,
Yeah.
the terms and the dates, but I don't know off the top of my head.
And
But it definitely needs to look at it, that.
as we all know, as it relates to the pool and the gates, we collectively, we have neglected them for years, and that's why we're in the situation we're in with both of them. Everything going out at one time at the pool, with
Right.
proper maintenance of the gates,
Right.
proper maintenance of the pool, we can avoid a lot of those extra charges.
Absolutely.
It ends up saving us money. I don't have anything else.
I know last meeting workshop, we talked about the income piece, Ron, specifically the rental of this room and all. So I went through the November calendar, and I plan to make it a agenda item for the next board meeting. But one of the things the social committee, and I talked with, I didn't talk to the social committee, but Melanie has. One of their plans was to up the rate to $100, so we would need to get board approval on that, effective, after it's approved, anything that goes into effect. But then also too, we've had great success with the food trucks coming and servicing, and we've learned that normally the food trucks give back a 10%, 20%. So we're saying now when a food truck wants to schedule, and we're seeing the same ones coming back and back, so it's very lucrative for them.
Right.
That we charge them like a $25 fee for the night, they want to be here on Thursday the 12th or the 23rd. $25.
Adds up.
Okay. And then for the room, the motion room, there's certain residents now that are doing classes, and they're charging the residents to participate. So Lorraine was charging them a fee for the use of the room. And in some instances, they're non-residents. So we would propose a fee for a resident-led activity, and then a higher fee for a non-resident
Separate fee for
type thing.
non-resident.
So
Yeah.
we're trying to hit that proposed $20,000, and that's with 2 private events a month would be,
Sure.
3-hour minimum, 5-hour max, inclusive of setup and cleanup.
Right.
They'd be $1,000 a month, $12,000, and then all these other little things. In the fall, they have, in the spring, they have craft shows, $25 a table, And when they bring in the vendors, for the home owner thing, $25 a table. So we came up with a number of opportunities to generate some revenue.
Excellent. I asked Lorraine about the food trucks.
Yes.
Because I thought getting revenue from them would be a good idea.
Yes.
And she said when she's talking about it, said that they had such low volume that they couldn't afford to pay a fee.
Yeah. We're seeing the same ones back again and again and again, so it's gotta be lucrative for them.
I think if they don't pay a fee, they probably shouldn't be here, frankly. But-
And we're not, I mean, I know, I called a couple food truck places,
Okay.
and in some instances, they give 20% of their commission, of their make back. So we're just saying $25 a pop, you know, which isn't big money. But again,
Sure, but it adds up.
it adds up for us,
Yeah.
but for them, it's not killing them.
No, and we're just emerging from COVID, so I think there will be a lot more
Right.
of a
But the food trucks here have been a success.
That's 5 or 10 grand a year we'd pick up.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, sure.
That's what I'm saying.
10 grand a year.
I like it.
That's exactly what I
So we'll make that new business on the thing, social.
It's a win-win, really.
And I can share you the workup I shared with Melanie yesterday.
Excellent, thank you.
So this is under the social income
Yes.
category, not the room rental?
Well,
It was, hang on, there were two. Just a minute, I'm sorry.
Currently in your
Room
budget-
rental, 41000. So, well, see, it's more, because it would be the food trucks or the food,
Would that go under room rental or would it go under?
well, no, the room rental would be one thing. So it could be
In here.
use of this for like birthday parties, receptions, or it could be the motion room where they're charging to conduct classes in the motion room. I don't think we need to split it with a second,
Probably not.
GL.
It's an interior made.
Yeah. But then it would be income generated from other activities, such as food trucks, craft shows where they pay $25 fee to set a table up to sell their wares.
I would love to see, maybe if we could have maybe a dance a month and charge, 10 or 15 bucks a person, because people would love to come. We could put 80
Right.
people in this room.
But that'd be the social, and that would pay for the music
Yeah, it
and
would-
stuff, yeah.
It would do
But
a lot, and it would also.
yeah, we're
boost
talking
the morale.
outside revenue, generating outside revenues.
Sure.
Okay, the current budget, we have 0 in room rental, and in social income, we have 15,000. Are you proposing that we should change that, either one of those numbers?
So the social income could be like the food trucks, right? Or no?
You tell me. Which-
Give that more thought.
A suggestion could be the room rental, as you spoke, could be anything interior to the building, including maybe the patio, and everything else could be social income, or
Yeah.
it kind of works to find one thing and everything else goes into the other bucket.
Yeah, so, like the food trucks, the fairs, like the craft show stuff, like fairs. So it wouldn't be like, Halloween, because we pretty much break even with, I don't know how we did this year.
Well, there is a Halloween.
Yeah, I see their line.
Yeah.
But even like John was saying, the dance, if we charge $15, what does that include? Some, snacks and the music and sound system, I don't know. If there's a band, I don't know. There you would hope to break even. You would set the costs to break even, I would think.
So should I put a number in there, or leave it not 0?
Yeah, so for the room rental, we were saying a ballpark goal was 20 grand. So if we do 2 events a month, maybe like 12,000, it would be more than that. Maybe 15,000 for the room rental and 5,000 for the social income. That would be like the food trucks and the,
5,000 above the 15 that's already there, or 5,000 total?
well, that's income, right?
Yes. Currently, you have 15,000 in for social income.
The room rental charge.
Yeah.
Is it?
I think the room rental needs to be the greater number.
Were you at $75 an hour, or what did I recall that, $150 an hour? What was the charge for that?
The room, it was 75 an hour, and the proposal is to up it to $100 an hour.
Do we have a minimum,
And-
like a 3-hour minimum or something?
3-hour minimum is the proposal, inclusive of setup and cleanup.
Okay.
You know, so it could be a half hour on either side, or 3-hour minimum, 5-hour maximum, inclusive of setup.
Well, if we had one of those a week, that'd be 15 grand.
Right. But
So-
I think for the proposal, we were thinking like
Two a month.
1,000 a month, 12,000.
$10,000, yeah.
So maybe the room rental, 12,000, Bill. And then for the social income, 8,000. For the 20,000 proposed goal. And I think it is doable.
Yeah. If we plan it.
Director's expectations.
Yeah,
And,
give her some direction.
Will you reduce that to kind of like a program, put expectations, we want to meet, like if you had one this month, you got to get a couple more, catch up. That may help to maintain that.
Yeah.
Well, when we start having a new orientation, we bring in and have a town hall, things like that, we can announce all these programs and tell people how to sign up for it. They don't know how to get it now.
Yeah.
So let's just make it open to them and let them.
I'm hoping that Town Hall will be able to assist with that
Right.
if we do finalize the contract with Associates.
Especially with introducing the new companies. And,
Yeah, kind of get people a bit excited about some of the things that can be offered.
If you have outside events with outside people coming in, you're also going to have to consider the access entry for non-residents.
Right now it's resident rental,
Okay,
room
but if you
rental.
consider that, that's a
Into a-
consideration.
But if a resident rents it though, if we limit it to only residents coming, that won't work. True. They gotta be able to have a party for their grade school class or something, you know?
No, whoever signs the contract has to be a resident, and they have to
Oh,
be
sure.
on site, they have to be on the premises for the event.
We need a way for them
And
to
the
get in,
contract is
though.
for the
Yeah, we're talking
room,
about
not the
access
pool, not the
control
gym.
To the gates.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they would have to call on their
People-
list or use their name, yeah, that's typical.
Well, you may not know, you may know some people are coming, but some people may come that hadn't told you that.
And I-
So do you have to put
Your
your
name and
name on the list, or they have to call you? So just think that.
That was easy.
It's not.
My understanding,
Yeah,
there is a
that has nothing to do with the
procedure
money.
we can give to Enviro to say we're going to the Ron Swinner party. Yes, there is. We just didn't use it.
Ah,
All right,
well, at least there's a reason, you know.
so would you guys agree then, if we do the 12,000 for the room rental and 8,000 for the social income, where before it was all
Yeah.
social?
I think that's great.
I said 20,000 for something.
20,000 total, 12,000, 8,000. 20,000 is the goal for social income.
So social income go down to 8,000.
Correct. And the room rental would be 12,000.
Okay.
Look, you know, 12,000,
Once you
1,000
do
a
some
month.
merry-go-rounds, you gotta go up the screens.
2 events a month, suggested. All right. We need to plug a number in for the decorations. This is something that would be next year's budget, because we have the new building, and to upgrade, you know, the holiday stuff.
We got it in from them?
Excuse me?
Where are we now?
You gotta change that number, Bill. It's not 6.
That's the number for 20,000.
That's the
I'll give it-
8,000.
I'll give you the $12 to change it for one. I just don't like it. 666.
Ooh, that's not a good sign, is it?
Yeah. Change it to 667, please. The first 3. I'm being anal, but it really does
My
bother me.
birthday's June 6th. I always say
You may wanna work
6666.
More round numbers there.
Just not the mark of the beast. Thank you, Bill.
So that's $8,004. You good with that?
Yeah, I'll give you the $4.
Okay. What's next?
Did,
You said decorations.
the decorations, and that would be 50555? I think we need to, in 50555. 50555.
That's it, that's it.
Decorations. I think we need to up that number because we have the new building to decorate. And I don't know if Melanie got we talked about identifying what the key holidays were, and I only talked about the income. I didn't deal with this with her.
Have we done an inventory? Because, let's face it, it's not been great, the decorations. We have like, I don't know if this bothers everybody, but it really does.
It's two storage.
You have
units.
like, you go to the gate and there are two different types of lights on there, on one side and the other. It just doesn't look good, and these aren't super expensive
The Christmas
items.
stuff hasn't been seen since January 6th when it was taken down. And Jason, we've got a change of players.
Right.
That it all needs to be,
I think it,
because it's like the original stuff.
yeah. I think that really,
But for this holiday, I don't think it's gonna.
you're
you know,
likely right.
After the holiday, when everything's marked down, the order bulk
Maybe a good
stuff.
idea to do, but I think we certainly need an upgrade is my point.
Yeah, I agree. So I don't know as far as a dollar amount, I don't know if Melanie got a suggestion. Can we put a placeholder there to get back to you?
Well, we've got 400 is placeholder now.
Yeah, but it needs to be more than 4,800 for the year.
So,
But she was gonna talk to, the social, and she's not here, on the decorations.
but I mean, for a placeholder, you have 4,800 now.
Oh, right, but
So-
it needs to be
Needs to go up,
increased. To what, I'm not sure. I don't know if, they were supposed to identify, like, what are the big holidays? Easter, Christmas, or, can we say Christmas? I don't even know it's politically correct anymore. But we'll owe you something on that one, but it needs to be up.
I'd like to see us be a bit ambitious for the decorations. I think it's really a nice seasonal touch, and it really shows that we care about the community.
Oh, I agree.
Well, while we're in the neighborhood, 52037, I'll put in flood insurance.
Good.
What number would you like to put in there? Will you give us a recommended number
Like
of
12,000
correct?
a month, that's,
Okay.
What, 1,000 a month? Yep.
Flood insurance?
Yes.
yeah.
Let me give you a recommendation from Todd, because he was looking at that, and what we talked about, did you talk about how we discussed it at the finance committee meeting the other day, Bill?
What?
You already talked about how we did that?
I thought 12,000 is what the
Well,
bid was.
we had, they come out for pricing for a number of sources for the flood insurance. And if you look at the government sponsored,
Yes.
it was like $32,000. But then if you look at private insurance, Lloyd's of London specifically, you had a scale based on what your limits were, and what your deductibles were. And the bottom line is Todd recommended one with a $500 deductible on each side, on each building. And the price today would be somewhere around $5,800, so we're looking at $12,000. Then he had a footnote, he said, I recommend making it 13, just in case it's
Sure.
higher. So
Okay.
it's at least 12, and Todd recommends 13.
And that's only for $500 deductible?
That's for, let me find.
Flood insurance, both buildings. And Bill, were you citing Ian Keith's flood insurance?
Yes.
Proposal of 12,000?
That's what Todd's talking about. He was-
Okay, I didn't want to make sure it was the same one.
There were several options, and
Yeah.
we had the discussion, I think, here, where we talked about Lloyd's of London, maybe even more reputable than the
Yeah.
United States government.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry, I didn't have that in my hand when I came,
But it sounds like 13,000 would be the number.
So that would be the outside structures. Coverage,
yes.
no contents.
There
a good
was some
clarification
comments, I
point.
believe.
Well, it was.
here's the
And that's why we wanted to
The large,
That's
large
why in the
boat-
spring we went to the inventory to see what the contents value
Right.
are, and we
It's-
can do an adjustment.
It's a $500,000 insurance on each building with a $10,000 deductible, no contents. Okay. That is $5,880 per building today, or a total of $11,760. And he recommends that we would boost that to 13 just to cover contingencies. But that, of all the different options, that seemed to be the one that was the most optimal. We don't really need to worry a whole lot about contents.
There's only one content, honestly, that troubles me a bit.
That's in the office. No.
It's the most expensive item here, and that's are these dividers. Would that be considered a content? I'm not clear on that, to be honest with you. It would be a good
I don't
clarification
think
point. But those are very expensive, and we're the single most costly item, frankly.
That would be certainly something we want to identify specifically in the policy.
If we could, that would be
Yeah.
great.
Okay.
These are the most, are they motorized?
No. Not at all.
But they're
Really?
extremely,
Wow.
well over 100,000.
I would have guessed HVAC.
No, not even close. That's
Wow.
one.
All right, what else?
54,000, that is CenturyLink just for internet, no TV on it.
Right. And I must have had 20 questions today on, the new assessment, and are we going to acknowledge that we're not charged for cable? I assured them we would.
65,000 personnel, site, and healthcare. Those were first services numbers. Since we don't know what might come down the
With the
pike,
social.
I'd say leave those the same unless you want to bump them a little just to give yourself some extra room. If you're going to talk about adding a second maintenance man, you might need to bump them a little bit.
What's the total?
Hmm?
The total?
Well, if we ordered a second maintenance man and we have him pick up dog poop, it'd save us $2,500 a month.
Right.
We're paying to
The DTE.
That's exactly right.
to Good Earth or whatever we know.
Yeah.
And it's a very good point that the amount you could do with two people is significantly more than you can with one. It's a very good point. I personally think it should be a serious discussion. I think we'd get the most bang for our buck.
And it would be an hourly employee, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody said when we, in the last discussion, that those were typically hourly employees.
If we were to add a 10,000 additional, that would bring us to 30,000. That's 10,000 more than what we were paying down to Earth. But we would basically have another hand on deck here to help us.
Well, that's $30,000 we're paying down to Earth if we do that every month for that picking up the dog service, right?
Yeah, I heard it was 20.
$2,500 a month.
It's currently 2,500. Well, even more so.
Somewhere between depends on how many times they come. Somewhere between 2 and 2,500 a month.
So it's fluctuating.
Is it a line item? I don't see it.
No,
For
it
dog
wasn't.
poop? No, it's not a
It's
line
in the
item.
contract.
It's not on the
They're
budget.
doing it, they're invoicing us for it, so it's really not on the current budget.
Okay.
It was simply a stopgap because of maintenance.
Yes.
But it's turned permanent. But I think we can go back. So maybe we have a discussion there if we think that is reasonable.
This other maintenance person could do other duties as well.
Right.
It's not like every day, every hour they're doing
Sure.
it, the poop, and it could be something else. So from that standpoint, I think 2 people, you're gonna get a lot more than 2 people.
Right.
In terms of results.
Right.
Because that's been an issue.
Agreed.
Maintenance people can patrol the neighborhood and help pick up stuff too, right?
Right.
And check the speed.
Cross training as a backup for other positions, pool attendants or a variety. Yeah.
And dog park as well.
So what's your pleasure? You've currently got $35,901 per month. And you've currently got $2,767 for health care. So if you add another employee, you're going to increase health care as well.
Even if it's hourly and a part-timer? Are you still thinking part-time run or no?
I don't know,
Might
what
as
do you
well
think?
get bang for the buck full time.
Yeah.
Because we can use them, wear many hats, right?
Yeah, it doesn't mean he has to be 9 to 5. We
Also,
could,
setting up tables for different functions.
right, that's,
Right?
Yeah,
We got a meeting, we need to
Yeah.
move
Yeah,
tables,
exactly.
this and that.
I think it should be full-time.
Full-time.
I'm okay with that. I think this would help a lot.
Yeah,
So we would go full-time.
You're looking at $40,000 or more added to the budget for a full-time maintenance guy, 40 to 45.
Okay.
A burdened employee.
Do we have the total amount we're currently paying for Down to Earth?
Yeah. Oh, no, I don't have that.
Well, I don't have that either because it's broken down by every street.
Okay.
We'd have to add them all together. Do that, please, don't we, too?
Well, I think it's absolutely clear that whether we went full-time or part-time, it's a better situation than keeping Down to Earth at 20,000 plus.
I agree.
I guess that's the only, I don't want to speak for you, but to me, that would be logical.
Yep.
And another function for this person is coverage on Saturday. So his work week is Tuesday through Saturday. So we have a 6-day coverage. The maintenance guy Monday
That's
through Friday.
excellent.
And then this guy would be the Tuesday
Right.
through Saturday.
That would be great.
It gives us extra boots on the ground, I would suggest.
Busiest day, and yeah.
good suggestion, Kevin.
I'm not as dumb as I look.
So what's your pleasure?
So plus up the personnel, payroll, and the burden.
About how much?
By a sufficient amount to cover 40,000 additional.
Okay, we've got 35,901 now, so if you want an additional 40,000, divided by 12, that's an extra 3333. I'll add that to the 35,901. So that would make personnel site would go up to 39,234.
Much more considering
No,
what we're paying now.
right.
I think it's a smart decision.
What about healthcare? Do you want to add anything to healthcare?
I don't think we have a choice.
Yeah, does John have an idea what the,
Thought that was
what
about
would the
5.
burden be on a,
25%.
You could probably use 25% as the figure on
No, healthcare only.
the burden. Not including health.
40 grand would be.
Healthcare's what I'm asking for, though.
Oh, okay. Shoot, that's that burden.
It was my understanding that's in the area of 500. Is that accurate?
So go from 2767 to about
Stay.
32. Make it
I don't think we
3,300.
have a choice on that. To add healthcare, I don't think we have a choice.
we don't have a choice if they opt in. Okay, and then Ron, what about the, with the opening of this building, I think we need to look at utilities. I think we may need to plus up, because Bill, you didn't plus up the utilities from last year, right? As far as heating and air conditioning, water, with the new building?
Yes, the new building is up. The budget in here for electricity and stuff. And
You plussed up?
Janitorial. that
Janitorial,
stuff
okay,
is
we're
all
good
up.
then.
Yes.
Okay. That was my other comment.
What about gate maintenance, repair and maintenance for gates and gate replacement? Number 70055.
Have you had the discussion from recommendation of the Gates Committee already? Have y'all had that discussion?
Yes.
We have.
Fence line on the east end.
I've had a big long discussion with them today. I asked them to send me some proposals on reviewing the contract. I can go over that. That's part of the reason we met so long today, but I got them both in a room, reviewed all their contracts with them. But you're right, we will need additional funds for that.
Right.
But we need to determine whether it's going to be from the HOA or whether it's going to be under a smaller association residential landscaping contract. Because a bit close. And then I can go over that with you, and then we can have a broader discussion on the decision then.
Yeah, it's money we're gonna spend.
We are going to spend it. But the difference there is if it's coming through the smaller associations, the income is going to match the expense, as opposed to us, from an HOA perspective, adding additional expense and raising potentially the dues. Are we waiting on any committees in addition to, and I'm not saying we're waiting on the Gates Committee, but I'll have some questions for them. Any other committees?
The finance committee's had no discussion with any other committee other than Todd Reinhardt being on the Gates Committee has communicated with us.
Do you feel a need for any other committee input? I will be,
I can't tell you whether Casey's had communications with individual committees or not. I know she originated this budget, so
Right.
if she had had communications with them, I'm assuming those are reflected in here.
landscape,
I can't assure you.
landscaping has not. I met with them today, and there's proposals that are being circulated to the landscaping committee. We're gonna, at the next budget meeting, have to add some numbers.
Well, let's go. Gate replacement, before we get to landscaping, gate replacement. What number would you like to put in for that?
I couldn't I don't feel I have enough information yet, to be honest with you.
I thought the Gates Committee gave you a 50,000
They did,
number.
and that, they did. And-
Yeah, so
and
we'll go
I
with
think
their
that's what we should go for.
recommendation.
I just wanted to know what was
If
included.
it included the repair,
Maintenance and-
John, do you
Well,
know?
But
do
you
know
could
if
put it in
included the
tentatively,
repair and
and I'll
maintenance?
try to investigate
Yeah.
it.
You have 23,000 in here already for repair and maintenance.
Separate.
So if you put 50 in, you've got 73,000 total.
Right. And that's the number they're looking for. If you, did you see Aaron's report? Did you all read that? If you didn't, I'll find it.
Yeah, if you could forward that to me, I haven't reviewed it. I have not seen
Was
it.
that within the last couple of days?
Yes,
Oh,
Yes.
I have not seen it.
okay.
Actually, today she's,
Here's,
Okay, I saw it a couple weeks ago.
to Todd from Aaron. 25,000 for replacing equipment at Trafalgar for the next year. 15,000 for service maintenance contract, which I haven't received yet. The last 10,000 will be for gate strikes, pedestrian gate repairs, and any other structural repairs like the veterans resident gate column failure. That's the final answer. Rick and I have spoken, and we're on the same page. Based on what Rick and I have discussed in terms of expenses to get operators replaced and service agreements in place, and seeing the cost of a few of the repairs, this is our final estimate of the budget breakdown using the $50,000 number. To get the gates completely operational and a long-term solution, the management team also needs to be on the same page. Right now, Casey's trying to get all power solutions to the community to repair the veterans exit gate that's currently inoperable. Previous repairs in history show that all power solutions should not be touching any of our gates moving forward. They've done more damage than good, as seen by the Trafalgar exit gate, and we incur more expensive later down the road if they keep being called when a gate's inoperable. That's why Rick and I have been working with Action Automatic to get the dates repaired and have been successful in a short amount of time using the correct vendor. Additionally, a lot of what we've been dealing with in terms of residents having issues with their card decals is because the management company installed the card decals in the wrong locations. Without doing a complete overhaul of every resident's card decal location and paying Envera for new decals for every resident, I'm working with Envera to offer another date for residents to drive through and have their decals reviewed with the reader and relocated so they're operational. The long-term solutions that Rick and I came up with were outlined in the report sent to the board back in July. It's not just replacing equipment to get a long-term solution. The majority of it is the management and service of the gates and can't be accomplished by Rick and me unless we can get a service agreement in place with Action Automatic. We aren't the ones to make that current service call repairs and don't install the decals. What Rick and I can do is to speak with Action Automatic, get a service agreement quote for all swing gate operators and barrier arms not being serviced by Envera, and an estimate to replace the Trafalgar entrance swing gate operators and get that accomplished. Anyway, that's enough, but it's fairly thorough discussion and long-term. So she believes that 50,000 per year, this next year and the following year, should put our gates in real good operating condition.
Well, two things I would raise. Number one, it sounds like there's some equipment replacement going on, and that
Which is covered by this.
would, in my mind, fall under a reserve item, which we would be able to do a bar for, and therefore not under operating. So that wouldn't have a material effect on our budgeting for this discussion. The other point was I want clarity that any significant repairs we're doing will not be considered obsolete next April when we were evaluating the Envira contract, because Envira has repeatedly told us that if they didn't install the equipment, they're not covering it. So I just want to make sure our options aren't limited. It sounds like they're doing a great job, and it's more likely ignorance on my part in terms of what they're doing. But in order for me to feel comfortable putting a monetary amount in there, I have to understand a little more.
I think the amount is reasonable. Where you take it from is up to the board.
Also is, you gotta remember that Envira is primarily responsible for controlling egress and ingress. You know, their value comes from putting your card in and getting in a building or having your passcode. But, so if we were gonna go out to bid, that would be the main function we'd be going out to bid for, was that. I think anybody can maintain those gates.
Well, they maintain certain portions of it right now, and it's dependent upon whether they installed it or not. They've been really ticky-tack with us on that, and that's what I've heard.
Right. So they don't maintain veterans, they don't maintain Trafalgar, but really Pine Island is about the only gate that they're really controlling. But the big cost is going to be the company that provides access in and out.
True.
If we decide to make a change there.
Well, I think Envira is controlling Trafalgar because the reader on your card or the card is going through Envira to open the gate. So they don't have a kiosk there, but they are opening and closing the gates.
That sounds like they're doing real good work though for us.
So your pleasure is to just leave that blank for now?
I'm not sure.
Well,
We obviously have to add money.
he broke the 50 down, right, John? You said 25 and 15 for different, 15 was the bars and the,
It was 25, 15, and 10.
And
So
10.
yeah, so it's really, and they rounded up to 50, which is probably wise.
But also remember, we've got 10,000 per month in here for Envira, and we've got 1,900 a month in here for repairs and maintenance now. So how much of what they've got is Envira?
I don't think any.
I don't think,
Well, what's their 10,000 a month?
okay, 70287 and Envira expense?
The 10,000 was for gate strikes and repairs.
So that's for equipment.
15,000 was for a maintenance contract, which we would get from a physical company to go out and maintain, not Envira, but a physical company, because Envira doesn't have people to maintain it.
Okay, so
And
they're
It
saying
would be your service agreement.
15,000 for a maintenance contract, and above and beyond the maintenance contract, 10,000 for actual
10,000 for gate
repairs.
strikes, and then 25,000 to replace
So the maintenance contract.
bad equipment.
The maintenance contract would not cover gate strikes.
Correct.
Okay.
Bill, do you have an opinion on what breakdown that would be in terms of a reserve item versus a operating item?
I'd say 25,000 in the reserve item, because that's the replacement of key parts, and the other would be 25,000 operational.
So, are you able to confirm currently that we have that amount in our reserves to cover that 25,000 allocation?
We have that in our reserves, yes. We don't have a line item for it, but as you well know, the board can direct us.
Yeah.
It sounds like we would need 25,000 total.
Added a line item to the budget.
Correct. For operating.
and you anticipate 25 as a bar.
And 25 is a bar.
Okay.
So that's $2,084 a month.
And where did you put that? Okay, I see it now. 706.
Where did I put what?
I see it. I'm
See
good.
green. You wouldn't put it on Vera, you'd want to put it, maybe new line item.
70055 gate replacements.
Well, that's really a misnomer. Are you talking about the 25 grand, or are you talking about the ongoing maintenance of it?
25.
The 25 grand.
Oh, sure, okay.
So we now have 25 grand for gate replacement, 23,000 in for gate repair and maintenance,
10 and the 15. Is
and
that
120,000 for Envira.
right? That's what you were asking. So, 10 for gates, tracks, and 15 for the maintenance agreement. Do we need two separate line items?
Any other questions?
Probably not. Probably not. But if gate strikes, we might have some opportunity to recover some of that. That's the thing. If we ever start enforcing, we get an enforcement process.
We are, in this budget, we have, we're assuming 121 sales for the year for income from resales. 121. What Steve just told me is this current year, we're on track to sell 185.
185. Awesome.
That's the contribution to reserve.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, that's,
They have a case just one time.
Okay. Any more questions?
Do we want to consider any income? Did they have a recommendation of what we would get in terms of gate strike income?
Depends on your enforcement process.
Is that a line item?
I'm
Or is it
unaware
just
of any
violation
recommendation
fees?
for that.
That's where, we didn't populate those. Is there a gate strike line item? And should there be? Because that's what we're always asked. What do we collect?
We will get income from there. and-
We will, but should it be a standalone, and I'm not big on expanding this further, but
But
we're always asked, the gate strikes, what have we recovered? So it might be worth putting in a GL.
Good point.
Well, we've got a bunch we can reuse. We've got a bunch we can reuse.
What would you call
You
it?
could put it in other income. You could put it in violation fees.
I'd like to make it as clear as
possible. You mean as a, what subset it's in?
Gate strike recovery,
you want a new line item, you say?
yeah, GL,
Yeah.
dedicated GL.
And
Because we're asked all the time, what have we, what have we collected?
which
So-
one of those would you like to drop out to replace with this? Would have no budget anyway.
But we can't make up a new number?
Are we using other income?
You're
What's,
using our GL numbers, so, there probably is a GL for gate strikes or something along those lines. I just don't know what the GL number is in our accounting software.
what about changing the name of other income?
And it's gonna change with your new management company, you're not gonna
Okay.
use these GL numbers.
I wouldn't want to change other income because you'll have strange income come in during the year that will be booked to that.
Okay.
I can add another line if that's what you want to do.
Yeah,
But
just-
we've got all those that are not being used. That's what I'm saying. Why keep all of those if you're not going to use them?
Well, we hopefully will have significant violation fees, bops and stickers. We really should be using them.
I don't even know what transmitter income is. Is that, we got fobs and stickers. Is that just a subset of fobs and stickers?
Yeah, the transmitter income, I think it's the $25 decals, is it?
Okay, well, we've got nothing in there now.
There's no auto decals, that's further down.
You want to,
So is transmitter, Kathy, the same as fobs and stickers?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Then why don't we, if not, we
Because
can
auto
change that.
decals is further down.
Yeah, we're double dipping it to use both.
So what do we decide on? Transmitter income changing?
Okay, what would you like to call it?
Is that okay with you guys?
What did you say?
I think transmitter
Transmitter
income,
income?
I think fobs and stickers is duplicative.
You gotta rename transmitter income?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
Okay,
you
Use that
We
code
can-
for
auto
now.
decals
We can-
down below.
Yeah, because
so
they're gonna
that's-
change
Fine.
Covers it, right?
so, yeah, let's do the transmitter income. What would be transmitter?
We don't have that anyway.
Well, the stickers that we used to get that was read by the laser thing.
Yeah.
Now you got the little thing you put on the
But
front.
that's
window.
auto decals, 4070. So it's duplicative, I agree.
Okay.
So let's, a transmitter
no
income.
idea what transmitter
Let's
is.
just put gate strike.
Gauge strike. Well, it's now gauge strike.
Writing's so shitty.
I think we need to have it clearly,
Right.
so we can capture it.
Yeah, exactly.
People can monitor.
And how much would you like to put in there?
One
We are
million.
populating these now,
Might as well.
for these incomes?
Why put it in there if you're not gonna put a number in it?
Yeah.
Well, do we have an idea of how many gauge strikes? Maybe we can ask the committee that
Well,
Rick.
since we've been opening the gates so many hours a day, our gate strikes have gone down from like 17 to 3 or something in the last report that Eric made. So,
3 for what period of
per
time?
month.
Okay, let's,
If you're looking at 3 a month and you charge, what's the price?
$100. So let's
Huh?
put 300 a month for now.
Yeah, well,
I think that's
$3,600.
pretty realistic, only 3.
Make it,
Well,
round
I look at a lot of
round up to
statistics early on
5,000.
about how many strikes, you know, in the summer, there was a lot of gate strikes.
So you think a lot more than over this.
I think a lot more than 3.
So what income do you think?
300 a month? That's
I'm thinking like 500 a month.
Okay. That's conservative, but at least it's an
Yeah.
expectation, right?
Yes, that's the
Yeah.
expectation.
Some strikes will charge more than 100.
It'll be for the recovery cost to repair.
That's true, that plus any damage that we can
Right.
cover.
So I've heard 300 and I've heard 500.
500,
Do I have
Yes,
consensus?
Yes.
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 Not 5,000, right?
Per month.
I like that number.
That would be nice.
It's 6,000 a year, 500 a month. Yeah.
But that income offsets things like the extra employee. It's very helpful.
Well, remember, everything you put in this area is also going to lower your homeowner assessments.
Right.
Because there's
Right,
that much
right.
income.
But again, it's a working document, so have to manage expectations, because I was already quoted that our assessments are going down, because John Elkins said it was this much at the last meeting.
Really?
You highlighted it, so it's already set in stone, John. And I said, that's a draft, we just started the discussion,
Yeah, right.
not to throw you under the bus.
Shut my mouth. Yeah.
Well,
Actually, I think we need to work toward that.
Yeah, oh, I agree.
what we have right now is
Is that the bottom line?
a total of $4,353,577 in expenses. We've got the same amount in revenue,
Given what,
And-
monthly charge?
given what?
We get that revenue based on what assessment?
I haven't given you the revenue yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Skip.
It has to be a balanced budget. So currently, we have $3,420,000. Let's see if that's right. F4, let me see, EF4 divided by 3 times A10. We've got $3,041,369 in homeowner assessments, which will break down to $2,134.29 per year, $533.57 per quarter per homeowner. Last year, 2021 was 600. You take the 75 per quarter for TV out of that, it'd be 525, so we're up $8 per quarter. Per quarter.
And we have the new building operating and a new employee, an
And-
additional employee.
And year-over-year inflation at 5.9%,
You actually added some money for other services.
Right.
an additional employee. But that is not the number yet. We're still looking at
No.
committee input from,
Not bad, yeah.
but I think it's pretty good.
I will send this to Steve, get him to print you a new copy
Okay.
and get it, can you do that? Get them new copies of this and send it to the finance committee as well.
Okay.
So you'll be ready for your next meeting next week.
Thank you guys for your help. Really couldn't do it without you.
Thank you. Anything
Thank
else?
you very much.
Sorry I was late, but you know what?
Yeah.
Meeting adjourned,
Happy to have you.
6:21.
Yeah.